What's up, everybody? Rich here, and I'm here with Steve.
What's up, Rich?
Steve, we just played Last of Us, and that was pretty awesome.
That game is really good.
Yeah, so basically Sony showed off two segments. One was a little more dealing with the sort of like corrupted individuals, clickers and runners, I think they're technically called, and then the other one was fighting some humans. I watched you, and you were like mercilessly bashing some dude's head into a windowsill. How do you feel about that?
This is what I do. I mean, I'm not a stealth gamer. I like to mix it up. But yeah, the game is super intense and super violent if you play that way. The guy demoing it said you can get through that whole encounter without killing a single person, but that's not the way I like to roll.
Yeah, I mean, this was my first time playing The Last of Us. I'd really kind of avoided media about the game up until this point. And what really struck me is sort of the interaction between Ellie and Joel. I really like that kind of dynamic. I walked into this abandoned record store, and the whole world is just gorgeous, especially for a PS3 game. You know, I mean, this is kind of an old system.
Right.
It looks really, really good. But so I'm in this like decrepit, busted up record store, and we're wandering around, and Ellie just starts flipping through the records and just talking about kind of how sad it is that this whole place has been forgotten and abandoned. And you know, the weird part was in my little trek, like I barely fought anything until the very end, and it got really violent, and I died a lot. But I just really like the sense of atmosphere and loneliness that it created, and sort of that struggle and the fact that you can't trust people. It was good.
What I really like about it is it hits this really narrow sweet spot where you might survive, right? Like in some games you feel super overpowered, in some games you feel like there's no way I can do this. And I felt like in every encounter I had, I was scrambling, right? Like, and I knew I might be able to pull this off. And like that intensity was just really great, really present in both the sequences that we played, both the Lincoln one that you did and the Pittsburgh one that I did later.
I mean, I think one of the things that helps is your weapons break down. You barely have any bullets. You might have like a pipe with some scissors taped to it, which actually will teach you to be able to do that in the future. But the scissors will break off after a while, and then the pipe will break. Right. Then you got to go find more of that stuff, and that's really hard. Like you got to go scrounging for these things. You feel like you're barely scraping by, both in terms of like how you're playing it as well as the characters themselves.
And you know, when you play a shooter and you go to reload and it's like bam, you reload, your gun's back out again. It's not like that in this game. And that's how I would be if like clickers were coming after me and I had to reload a revolver. It would take me a couple of seconds, and those seconds are super precious and makes this game so intense when you're trying to save Ellie and like you're out of bullets suddenly, and then a clicker's coming at you, and you got to put a lot of bullets into these guys to put them down. It's just, it's intense, start to finish.
Yeah, basically, I would be really bad at fending off mutated freaks, hanging upside down, trying to defend a little girl. So that's something I learned today.
It's a good thing you're doing this job instead, right?
Probably, yeah. So for all things The Last of Us, including the review, which will be imminent on IGN because the game's basically out in the next month or so, stay tuned to IGN.